Animalized, animalized.
And the amazing thing is, and I am not exaggerating about this, we have not met one person, not one, who didn't know about PETA. I had a 4-year-old little boy stand next to me. He was like in a sandbox, okay? And he said, PETA means People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. That was awesome. Seriously. I mean, he had like Tonka toy trucks running around. PETA, which has been around for about 31 years now, what they have done is to successfully push the issues that animals around the world face out from behind closed doors, out from the windowless laboratories and the slaughterhouses and the factory farms and the fur farms and the entertainment industry, and they put it right here in front of our face, right here. And what PETA has asked us all to do is to go home and look in the mirror and ask ourselves, am I complicit in the systematic abuse of animals? So it is my honor and my joy to introduce you to Ms. Ingrid Newkirk.
Thank you very much for coming out on a work night. Let me first answer, because I know it's a mixed audience, the question for anybody who might wonder, who is PETA and what does PETA stand for? That can be quite confusing. We're the people who suspect that no matter how well he plays football, Michael Vick is a sociopath and the time did not match the crime. We're the people who believe that Ringling Brothers will stop beating animals in the circus before the decade is out. Because if we have anything to do with it, they'll be out of the elephant business before I die. And yes, we are the people who go naked, dress as fish, serve human barbecue at meat conventions, pie fur wearers, and make ourselves look barking mad if that's what we have to get attention for animals. I wanted to mention the reason that I started PETA, which is now an amazing 31 years ago. Hard to believe it, but is for the same reason I think most of you care. I can't stand knowing that animals are suffering. I just can't stand it. And I want to do something to stop it. The idea that an animal is looked upon as nothing more than a hamburger or a handbag or a snack or an amusement drives me insane. So I probably do this to keep myself sensible more than anything else. Animals are all wonderful. They're all whole, marvelous individuals. They have thoughts and they have feelings that are identical to ours. You see this mother holding out her little child with such pride. And there are so many pictures like this. Animals have their own languages. They have their own cultures. Yet we treat them as if they are just subhumans. They're not humans at all. They're not mini-humans or lesser humans. They are whole, delightful, wonderful, intelligent living beings, what Henry Beston called fellow travelers with us in the net of space and time. I mean, who can call these pests? You know, people call them rats with wings. I call rats pigeons without wings. Pigeons have stronger family values than most members of Congress. Here's what he says: they truly mourn the loss of a mate. They're monogamous, they mate for life, they make wonderful parents, something there isn't much to brag about in that department for human beings. They court and they romance their mates. They snuggle up to each other for hours, preening each other, never seeming to get bored with their partners, and they are kind to each other. How can anyone be cruel to a pigeon? If ever I see kids chasing pigeons in the park, I always go up to the parents and I say, no matter where it is, you know you can get a ticket for that in this park, so you just want to talk to the children. And when you ask people the simple question, why is it all right to raise animals as if they had no feelings and to kill them for nothing more than a sandwich? They don't have a real answer, because there isn't a good answer to that question. What can you possibly say that justifies snuffing out an animal who is minding his or her own business because you want a fleeting taste in your mouth? Nothing. And I'll end with Bishop Desmond Tutu's words. He said, "It's hard to wake a man who's only pretending to be asleep." And I think everyone here knows friends who care about animals. They really do know in their hearts that something is wrong with how they treat them. They're only pretending to be asleep. And our job, each and every one of us, is to make sure, no matter how hard it is, that we wake them up and make them join and come over to the right side of the ethical treatment of animals, and not stay in that dark, sleep-like state or pretend sleep of oblivion. So thank you all for everything you do, and hope you open many hearts and minds and eyes. And I turn myself over to the mercy of Kim Sturla. Thank you. Many people. I'm inspired by anyone who does anything for animals. When I first started, I would be angry that people didn't do animal work all the time. Now I'm grateful if anybody does anything. I think it's marvelous.
I think I know your answer to this one. I'm not sure. What do you think is
Go on, you give it then.
What's the biggest issue facing non-human animals? Needing our most attention?
Well, actually, I think that's a very complicated question, because everybody eats, and the numbers of animals used for food, and in food I include dairy and eggs, because those are massive industries that are hideously cruel. So everybody eats. Everyone can do something about reducing cruelty in food production. But experimentation involves so many animals kept for a longer period of time in intense fear. In every moment of their day, when a wild-caught animal or a specially bred animal who's never been touched or patted or loved is in a steel box with no freedom, knowing that the next person who comes in the door may take a biopsy or do something to them, a dental experiment. I mean, they live in intense fear over years and years and years, often. So that's another area. And then, of course, there are the just daft, grotesque cruelties, which I think we can knock out, like ringling, like the chaining of elephants for entertainment, like rodeo, like fur, like leather. Who needs it? We're not survivalists.